The Island of Red Shadows, Chapter 1, The Wreck. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. 6 friends, Maya, Jacob, Lila, Drew, Vanessa, and Theo, chartered a private boat to explore the remote archipelagos of the South Pacific. Their last stop was an uninhabited island not marked on any map. It was Jacob who insisted they check it out. "Come on, it'll be our own private paradise," he grinned, clutching a half-rolled treasure map he'd found in a dusty second-hand store in Brisbane. They had been drinking, laughing, dancing on the deck. Then came the storm. A sudden squall, violent and unrelenting, shattered the sky. Their boat capsized within an hour. Rain fell in sheets. Waves, like the fists of giants, pounded the vessel until it snapped like a twig. Screams were swallowed by the roaring sea. Lightning lit up glimpses of something vast and coiled in the waves, though no one dared believe what they saw. When they came to, drenched and bruised, they found themselves on a black sanded beach, littered with debris and soaked luggage. Vanessa's arm was gashed and bleeding, the muscle visible beneath shredded skin. Theo's leg bent at an unnatural angle, bone protruding white through his skin. He whimpered and then vomited from the pain. "That bone's gotta be set," Maya said. "We need shelter." The island was silent. No birds, no bugs, Theo muttered through gritted teeth. "That's not right." The jungle loomed before them, dark and still. The trees twisted like broken limbs, their trunks covered in a sticky black moss. From within, the wind whispered in voices too hushed to understand. They had no idea that something had already seen them. Chapter 2. Signs and Symbols. The deeper they went into the jungle, the more the trees closed in, gnarled like fingers clawing at the sky. Old statues with hollow eyes stood amid the trees, their mouths open as if screaming. They passed cracked bones tied with vines and dangling from branches like wind chimes. A foul smell clung to the leaves. Every few feet, they passed markings carved into trees, bloody spirals and bone-white handprints, fresh blood, not dry. Vanessa gagged. They stumbled on a severed animal carcass, a boar, its body splayed open, entrails carefully arranged in the same spiral pattern. Maggots writhed inside the intestines, which pulsed unnaturally. "We need to signal for help," Lila said, clutching Drew's arm. Maybe the boat's radio survived. They returned to the wreckage. The radio was smashed. Food was scarce. Night fell quickly, and the temperature plummeted. The wind carried with it a wet, rotting smell. Around the fire, Vanessa whispered, "I saw someone in the trees, watching us, tall, pale, smiling." No one slept. In the dark, something breathed, slow and raspy, just beyond the edge of their firelight. A twig snapped, and then silence. Chapter 3. The Villagers. At dawn, they heard the drums. Faint at first, then louder, rhythmic, primal. From the jungle emerged figures, half naked, painted in red clay and black ash. Their eyes were white as pearls, their mouths stained crimson as if they'd been gnawing raw flesh. They moved in unison without a word, surrounding the camp. "Don't move," Maya whispered. One stepped forward, elderly and hunched, wearing a necklace of teeth and dried fingers. Her skin was flaking, her eyes milky. She extended a gnarled hand to Maya and touched her forehead, smearing ash across it. Then she turned and disappeared into the trees. "That was a warning," Theo said. "We're not just trespassers, we're offerings." They ran. Vanessa stumbled, and one of the villagers lunged toward her, tearing a strip of flesh from her calf with sharpened nails. She howled in pain, blood pouring into the soil. A villager licked the blood off their fingers before slinking back into the shadows. Chapter 4. The pit inland, they found what looked like an altar. The stone platform was stained with dried blood. Around it were dozens of human skulls, arranged in spirals, just like the trees. A pit behind the altar held more than bones, rotting limbs, hollowed torsos, empty eye sockets still wet with decay. Something in the pit moved, slowly, watching. Drew fell to his knees. This is a sacrificial site. A child's skull still had tufts of blonde hair. Behind them, the villagers closed in. They dragged Lila away. The others screamed, fought, but were overwhelmed. One of them bit into Theo's shoulder, tearing away a chunk of flesh. Blood sprayed across the altar stones. Theo shrieked and kicked blindly as his vision blurred. The villagers vanished into the jungle, taking Lila with them. Her screams echoed until the jungle swallowed them whole. Chapter 5. The monster night again. But this time they didn't dare make a fire. Hidden beneath a thicket, they listened to the drumming. Then it stopped. A howl split the silence, low, deep, not human. Jacob peered through the leaves and screamed. Something enormous lumbered into the clearing, 8 feet tall, covered in matted hair and filth. Its face was hidden behind a mask made of stitched-together human skin. Its eyes glowed through the sockets, bright and inhuman. In one hand, it held a massive stone axe, the blade chipped and bloodstained. It sniffed the air, then bellowed. The villagers chanted, a ceremony, sacrifice. Lila was on the altar, wrists bound, mouth gagged, crying. Her eyes screamed for help. The monster sniffed her, its clawed hand brushing her cheek. It heard a sound worse than any growl. The monster raised its axe. Chapter 6. Blood and Fire. They couldn't leave her. Drew and Maya crept through the underbrush, while Theo and Jacob circled wide. Vanessa stayed behind, trembling. Pressing gauze made her warm clothing against the clean lead. As the chanting rose, Maya threw a rock into the tree. The villagers turned. Chaos erupted. Jacob charged with a sharpened brand. Theo swung a torch. Drew cut Lila free. The monster roared and struck down Jacob with one blow, leaving him bone and brain. His skull split like a melon. Blood geysered across the altar. Lila screamed. Theo was grabbed by villagers, dragged away into the dark. One of them gnawed his ear off as he shrieked. Vanessa salvaged into the fire. It exploded in a fireball, blinding the attackers for seconds, just enough to escape. They ran through trees that whispered. They ran over ground that pulsed beneath them. Jacob's body was left unturned, but not untouched. The monster began peeling away his skin, slowly, delicately. Chapter 7. Escape. At the far end of the island, they found a cave with remnants of a crashed military plane. Inside, rusted guns, old rations, and a flare gun. A torn logbook showed the last highway road. There in the trees, like a bead of blood, it wears the skins of the dead. We shoot the beast, Drew said, then signal for help. Night again. The monster came. It stormed the cave, knocking Vanessa aside. Her head cracked against a rock and she went limp. Drew shot. Once. Twice. The bullets buried in its chest, but it didn't hurt. Maya grabbed the flare gun. Come get me, you freak! She fired.